Well, this is my buddy Sven, and this is Sven's Roadmap to Success video. Let me see if I can get him sitting next to me, although I like him covering my belly. All right, so we went over a lot of stuff, and so I'm just going to kind of go literally what we went through. So first thing we did was the marker. You guys already have a marker in place, which is great, but I might have you walk around, and it'll help you get it back in the habit and help Sven practice it. One of the guardians uses them, and we didn't really talk about it. You didn't remember it quite so much. Do you use it a lot?
I say yes all the time.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So remember, yes is our way of saying good dog.
Yeah.
So try not to say good dog, try to say yes. And when you say yes, try not to say anything else for 5 seconds. Let that sound really, the word really resonate. Speaking of words, remember the first word you say is the most powerful. So when you say a cue, just say sit, not can you sit. All right, what else do we cover? We went over hand targeting. Now I teach it a little bit different. And again, I teach it with an open hand. Did I drop a treat? Touch. Yes. And then I put it on that hand. And that way you can get him to follow your hand, even though there's no treats. Well, this works better if you follow it. There you go. They say in the movies you don't want to work with children and animals, but I'll work with you any day, buddy. All right. So the hand targeting is something you might want to brush up on a little bit. It's a nice game to play with guests. I know he's pretty good with guests, but it's just another, I guess, yeah. All right. We also went over dog consent. And that's when we reach over the head. Now, remember, you're going to find yourself doing this and going, oh, shoot. So you do this, just immediately go underneath. That's for Sven to tell him, I remembered, I'm not trying to dominate you. Then pull your arm back and then start on it. He likes his chest. So that's for you to recalibrate your brain so you're reaching underneath. And so we just meet him. Just, hey, can I say hi to your dog? Yeah, we just ask people to hold their hand out, see if they want to meet him. Yes. He likes it under his shin. Otherwise, they'll go right on top. So watch for those cutoff signals. You guys were already picking up on some of them here about pulling across your lap, different things like that. One of my favorite things about that lesson is people start telling me, I didn't realize my dog didn't like this, didn't like that. Now you know what to look for. We also talked about dog body language. Remember, what you might do is have one of you filming off to the side when you're walking and you're going to encounter another dog. Now, it's not ethical to trigger a dog intentionally, but you're out for a walk anyways. Just walk, and then if you're walking past a dog, that you can see what his tail does, how his ears move, how he positions his head. And having that information will really help you later on to identify. You guys have done a great job of already identifying some of his tells, but there might be a couple others. And when it comes to dogs, you want to try to interrupt or work on the thing as low as you can. I like to say dogs have 10 levels of energy. 0 is asleep, 10 is crackhead crazy. So if you let him get to level 8 or 9, it takes a lot longer to get to level 2 than if you stop him at level 5. So, yes, I know I have treats here, but I'm trying to keep you in the shot. Try to get in the habit of, kind of observing his body language in different situations where you know how he feels. So when one of you guys comes home, what is his tail doing? How is he carrying his head? What does the ears look like? What do the eyes look like? How's the breathing pattern? Where are his feet? And so you calibrate happy and then neutral when he's just relaxed. Where's the tail? Where are the ears and all that? And then, you start doing it in other situations where you can predict kind of what sort of emotional state he's in. And then you start figuring out how he, other tells. And the sooner you get him out of that or redirect him, the much more effective you're going to be. When I came here after taking our little intermission, you were trying to do the scatter, and he was already kind of elevated. So we had already gotten to level 5 or 6, and that's why it was harder to get you in the scatter. If you would have done the scatter beforehand, then he'd probably have been more interested in that. So if you think somebody's going to come in and he might be reactive, he might ask them, hey, can you text us when you get here? And when they text us, not Texas. And then you have a scatter on the ground. I would also occasionally do a scatter on the ground for no reason. The more you do that, then the more he's like, oh yeah, my people are weirdos. Blue shirt man came, now they throw treats on the ground instead of putting them in my mouth. Well, it's more work for me, but I got to do it. So he's practiced at doing that. That's like the walk that we took, practicing the find it away. So the find it away is I touch a treat to his nose and I drop it just right here. And I want to just make it really easy in grass. Then I show him I have another one. I do it about a foot away, and then about 3 feet away, and about 5 feet away. This moves me about 10 to 12 feet off of the sidewalk. And do this every block so that if you do come into a narrow area and dog's walking towards you, well, not a narrow area, we'll talk about that in a sec, but if you're walking and the dog's walking towards you and there's space, you get him off to the left or the right, and you've increased the space. He doesn't need to react, and he's sniffing, trying to get those treats. He might not even recognize the dog's there. I don't want to catch him by surprise. I'm not trying to trick him, but I'm trying to get him used to it. And if he's sniffing the ground, it's going to tell the other dog, I'm not that interested in you. And so we don't have to, and so that can help the other dog be less reactive to him. Just like us, if somebody hits my shoulder in a bar, I'm like, hey, what's your problem? You know, we get tit for tat and we raise it up. So for dogs, if he looks at another dog and the other dog does a play bow or a yawn or turns away, he's going to feel more comfortable. So having him practice turning away can help the other dog be like, oh, much ado about nothing. Oh, yes. And that will help reduce that reactivity. I also like to have a plan B for walks, so I always do the U-turn. So remember, when you're doing the U-turn, you touch a treat to his nose, say turn first, then execute a U-turn. After you've executed your U-turn, take one additional step, then say yes and release that treat. Walk about a dozen or so paces and then repeat the process. So you're kind of doing an oval, and then you're going on your original direction. So again, if you do that once a block, that's just a normal part of your walk. And if you do see a dog come around a corner and it is a narrow area now, you do a U-turn and walk away, and he's like, cool, this is just what we do. So having those can really help. Other foundational elements for walking, have a treat in your hand at all times. Every time he looks at you, say yes and hold the treat down. This causes him to come back to you. If he doesn't look for you, it means he's probably a little aroused. So what I do is what I call the long short walk. So what I do is I basically go about 10 paces and I stop. And then I let the dog have the whole leash and I pivot, but I don't move off my pivot spot. And I just stay there. I'm trying to be force and punishment free, but I'm trying to force the dog into stopping and checking out their environment. If he's smelling the roses and sniffing things, he's actually distracted a little bit. So he's not looking for the boogie dog or what I can pee on next. And so then they start kind of sniffing the ground, and eventually he looks up at you. When he looks up at you, say yes, offer the treat. Then he has to come back to you to get the treat. The more that he comes back to you, that is a foundational element for loose leash walking. And now you're making yourself more valuable. And then after, I usually stay there until he's looking up with less than 30 seconds in between looks. Then I take another 10 paces. So this is helpful. Now, you can go on a regular walk too. I'm not saying you have to do this every walk, but this is a nice way to kind of jumpstart getting him to check in with you and pay more attention. Now, the little exercise I was doing in the place, and when I teach loose leash walking, I teach it in the house first. And this is not just loose leash. Anything you're teaching your dog, find the easiest capacity you can teach it first so they can learn the skill. We try to learn the skill as we're making it difficult, often real world situations. We don't do that for any industry in the humans. We do it to dogs all the time. We set them up to fail. So instead, when I teach loose leash walking, I teach it in the living room where the dog's already sniffed everything. And the exercise I was doing here is I was just walking around him in a counterclockwise circle. They want him to walk on the right side. It's okay, buddy. Yeah, I know. You're the guard dog. Good grumbles. Now, something real quick. For a lot of dogs, thanks, hey, Sven, thank you. For about 10% of dogs, acknowledging it and petting him will stop the growling. So he's like, there's somebody outside, you're not listening. So I have to keep on going up and up and up. Did I get you too aroused? Can you just stay here? I'll give you some good rubs. But for some dogs, you just say, yes, thank you, I'm acknowledging it. It's like, okay, cool, now you know, I can now leave it up to you. So for the one I was doing here, the loose leash walking, what I do is I walk in a counterclockwise circle, no leash, and I wait for the dog. As soon as the dog looks at me, Sven, there we go. As soon as he looks at me, I say yes, and I hold the treat down, and again, he walks towards me. Then I keep on walking the circle, and if any times he gets distracted, I just keep walking around him. And as soon as he looks at me again, I'm marking for the look. And after a while, he'll start watching you the whole time, and then he'll start kind of following along next to you. Now remember, when you're delivering the treat, deliver it behind the seam of your pants. So you want to, on the right side, deliver the treat behind you as opposed to in front of you. If he's jumping, you're holding it too high. And so eventually he'll start walking with you in the circle. Then you walk one step, yes, treat. 2 steps before yes and treat. Eventually you're walking the whole circle, then yes and treat. And eventually you can walk around your whole place. And now he's practicing walking on the right side next to you. There's no leash. And if he wants to go fart around, it's a safe place. You don't worry about doing it. I'm not saying you should take him on a loose leash walk or a no leash walk, especially not here. But he's just getting conditioned to walking on that side of you. And practice walking him around in your house in that position. Formulate that and get him used to that. Guardian's doing a great job of celebrating off camera. But the more that he walks next to you, the more that becomes the normal behavior. So there are other loose leash walking exercises and stuff that we can go over. We didn't go over today, but let me know if you want to work on that stuff. But let me see, what else? Let's go back to the session. So we, after dog consent and body language, we went over cutoff signals, or excuse me, celebrating. Celebrating is the easiest way to train a dog. It's just simply rewarding him when he chooses to do the activities you want. I'm going to have a video and an article linked above on celebrating, so watch that if you want a little bit more detailed synopsis of it. But the more that you reward him for behaviors you like, the more he's going to offer those behaviors. Now, we also went over the pause interrupter. The pause interrupter is either saying beep 3 times, puppy 3 times, or I like making the smooching sound like. So this works much better if you catch him before he does the activity than once he gets aroused. It's harder to get him disengaged. So let's say that he hears somebody at the door and he's like, I go, puppy, 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 beep, or touch. Yes. So he came over. I'm now rewarding him for the touch, not giving him attention for barking or grumbling. Remember, all attention is rewarding, and whatever your dog is doing right before you give him attention is what you are specifically rewarding them for. So celebrating, sits, comes, downs, go to the dog bed, dropping toys, whatever it is, makes him more likely to do it. He likes to do the kicking thing. Mark that. When he comes inside with muddy paws, if he's done the kicking thing enough, and after a while you say, kick it, and every time he's scratching like that when he's outside, you come in and you put a towel or a floor rug on, lure him on that and say, kick it, he can wipe his own paws off. So it's a cool, and that's a nice thing about celebrating. It's anything that he does on his own. I taught one of my dogs to stretch this way. I taught another one of my dogs to drink water if I say happy hour. The way I did that is I had the water bowl under the TV, and every time the dog went over to drink water, I said yes when he got done and petted him. Well, after a while, when he's walking towards it, there's nothing else there. So I would just say happy hour when he's on his way to the TV, to the water. He drank the water, he got done, I said yes and petted him. And after a while, I could say, happy hour, you go and drink water, and then on cue. And my friends will laugh, like, what is in there? I'm like, well, just a little vodka. Don't give your dog vodka or alcohol. It's not good for dogs. So celebrating, again, the easiest thing you can do, but only if you get in a habit of it. Watch the video and make sure you point at each other and say celebrate to get yourself into a habit of doing it. It'll take about 2.5 months, but once you do, just about every time you pet your dog, it becomes a micro dog training session that increases his respect for you, helps him practice listening to you, helps him practice basic obedience, and boost his confidence because knows what it is I can do to make you happy. We didn't talk about my manners lesson because he doesn't really need it. We did talk about exercise he's doing good on as well. So the other thing we talked about before we get into the exercises were just some rules. So most of the rules I have for dogs involve sitting. Sit before I invite you on the couch. Sit before I put your leash on. Sit before I start preparing your food. Sit every time we cross a street corner is a good way to get him in condition instead of racing into the street, of sitting, slowing down. All right, so that's kind of the core stuff we went over. We went over, let me see, the video above is on, the video we did, it was on counter conditioning? Yes, for the male slot. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about that one because that should be encapsulated. We also went over the CER. That's getting him used to putting his own harness in. I have a video on that one, but if you're the first start, I usually do is I swing it out, they look at it, yes, and then I take it away and give them a treat. Eventually I hold it, I want a longer look, and then I want them leaning towards it and eventually touching it. Some dogs that have problems with that, I might leave it on the ground like I did and put treats underneath it. Every time he approaches it and something good happens, Sven, here, up. It's like, nope, I don't feel like doing that. Come here. No. Oh, look what I got over here.
Not going to do it for free.
Yeah, I might have to eat some strawberries. Yeah. Oh, is somebody interested now? Motivation is key. And so, yes, this is, and by the way, if you want to know what these are Signature. Signature is a brand that is famous because it's signature with a Z. They don't put chicken in anything. None of their foods have any chicken dry products, chicken broth, or anything else. This is venison, which he seems to like. It's a heart shape. So remember, smallest treat you can get away with. Look at his tail right now. So we know he's happy. So this is an opportunity for you guys to see what his tail does when he's pretty happy. And so you wanted to keep on doing that. Mom's works in the film industry, so she's going to give us a nice little demonstration of your tail. Yes. And so it's nice in the middle. It's kind of going back and forth. Remember, wagging on the left is a little bit more sign of insecurity or fear. The corners of the mouth being drawn back can be indication of fear and anxiety as well. Now, you want to come up here? This works better if you come up. There you go. Yes. This also is Hollywood. So, well, it's not Hollywood here, but, it's close enough. You got to have better camera presence, buddy. Okay. Let me see. What else did we go over? So for the CER, you're swinging your hands back and forth. You can put it on the ground. If he doesn't like the vacuum cleaner, put the vacuum cleaner in the middle of the room. Put treats around it. Let him practice approaching the vacuum cleaner. And then he gets to go away. And none of the contraption or the noises that he doesn't like happen. Let me see. What else did we cover? I'm trying to think lessons-wise.
We did harness. We did desensitization of the mailman. We did walking. We did.
Yeah. Well, one other thing on walk. So every time he looks at a dog on a walk, that's the engage disengage game. Message me if you want a video specific on that. If I forget to mark it above. But basically, the engage disengage is just rewarding him when he looks at the dog on his own. So one thing is, thanks for reminding me. You might want to go to the Strand Street Dog Park. It's not too far away. You can go to the Santa Monica Airport Dog Park. Find a place, and Santa Monica Airport might be a little bit easier for you guys. Not location-wise, but for the setup. What we want to find is a parking lot, entrance to the dog park, where people are walking their dogs along here, and you can be on this side or that side. So you get to create a vantage point where he watches these dogs walking in and out. None of them are walking towards him. Remember, front-facing is confrontational. So every time he looks at the dog, you say, yes, get a treat. He looks at the dog again. So he might look 3 or 4 or 5 times as this dog's walking past. Now remember, you don't want to have any reactivity, so you're going to move closer when the dog's calm, but further away when the dog's excited. We want to manage the distance so Sven here doesn't have to. But every time you pass a dog and he does well, make sure you mark and reward. If you don't have a treat, just give him a pet, but acknowledge it when he does the things that you want. That will cultivate that, and he'll end up doing those more and more often. Now, there's probably a whole lot of other things that I've forgotten here, so message me, text me if you have any questions. I don't charge for that. My clients who get the best results are the ones who watch this video once a week until when they watch the video, there's nothing new. So watch it once a week, and if after that, you're still having some issues, you want to work on something, let me know. I'm happy to come back. We'll do a 1-hour follow-up session if we need to. But I think you guys are on the right track. You guys have a lot of great skills. Am I getting sleepy eyes a little bit there? Mm-hmm. Yes. And so, let me know if you have any questions or problems. All right, well, this is my buddy Sven, and this is Sven's Roadmap to Success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.